I appreciate you guys being here. Obviously, a huge win for us. I thought that was. I told our team, we went out there in warm-ups. That was as good-looking a team and as talented a team. The back was fast. The wideouts were elite. I thought the quarterback was really impressive. I think Mike Loxley's done a great job of getting the right players in there, both defensive ends, fantastic. So, we played really good players and found a way to win. Love what we're doing in the fourth quarter. Need to improve the third quarter. So I told our guys, back-to-back weeks, we had a 14-point lead and a 10-point lead. In both those games, we've allowed the team to come back. We have to be better about playing complementary football and putting people away. Special teams continue to impress. Really happy for Kenneth Williams. I thought that was a world where football's become a little bit transactional. To see that moment, and Troy, that moment with Troy Dannon and him was awesome. So excited to go on the road. Keith tells me we haven't won road games in back-to-back weeks since 2006, which is mind-boggling. Quite a challenge. They've beaten us 5 times in a row. For me, it's a great measuring stick for where we were 2 years ago when we first got started to now. They do a great job, top 20 in the country in turnover margin. We've been good in turnover margin this last game. When you're -3, I know Coach Fleck, who I have a ton of respect for. I know he preaches +3. We were -3 last game. So when you're -3, you have about a 7% chance of winning. So our guys overcome, but we can't continue to do that. So we'll work on it and see what happens this week. So with that, I'll take your questions.
Obviously, your alma mater fired its coach Sunday, and so your name logically becomes the candidate for that role. What would you like to say about not only Coach Franklin, but the opening there and your relationship to the AD there?
Yeah, well, I love Penn State. Met my wife there. It's my alma mater. Fan since I was born. I think probably had a Penn State shirt when I was born. I love Pat Kraft. And really sad to see Coach Franklin go. When you think about what he did for my alma mater, the program was in peril, right? I mean, the players, if people remember, like the historic sanctions, you could transfer out, you could do whatever you want. Bill O'Brien comes in, stabilizes it for 2 years. James takes over a program in disarray and gives stability, excellence, and to see videos of people like yelling at his kids, and I just don't understand why in our country now coaches are villains. Do you know how hard I worked in Carolina and the things that were said to me, or how hard I work here and some of the things that are said. Our coaches work here, how hard Sat worked last year. So I'm just really sad about that part of it. And people say, well, you make a lot of money. Making a lot of money doesn't make your kids feel good when they're hearing that. Make a lot of money. It's nice to make a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but still people. So I really respect James Franklin. Troy and I are in unbelievable relationship too, and Troy and I are in constant communication about this program and where we're headed. I came here for 2 reasons. I love the community here and wanted to live here, and I love it here. And I wanted to rebuild Nebraska football. And Troy and I understand the steps that you need to take to make us Big Ten champions and national champions. This place is elite, and I want to be a great father, and I want to be a great college football coach. And so, I'm not going to talk a lot about job openings when they come. Maybe it's been a while here, but this is what happens when you win. I've dealt with it. We've won at Temple, and I dealt with it all the time. I dealt with Baylor. I'm not going to talk about those things ever. I'm not going to talk about my contract here. I'm going to talk about the team. But I absolutely love it here, and I want us to continue to take the steps needed for us to turn this thing into a beast. And players all across the country want to come here. We have the best facilities. We have elite fans, and I'm just looking at the future. So, but again, I love that place. I love Pat. I love James Franklin. Sad that came to an end. I wish him the absolute best, but I'm really happy here and excited to get going this week on Minnesota.
What further steps do you feel like need to be taken? You stood in front of us in March 2024 and talked about investment. I think that Nebraska's invested since then. What further steps would you like to see outside of what you can control?
Yeah, I think really now when you talk about football, we have the best facilities. We have the staff. There's really not many things yet. I mean, what Trev started and Troy has been elite. I mean, Troy's, like I said, he's a thought leader. He's a difference maker. And the investment from everybody. The thing I've always said is, like, we have to be unabashed. We can't always worry about the optics of everything. Like, it's a really hard time in higher education. There's cuts, there's all these different things, but we're athletics here is a separate entity. Like, we're not taking money from the university, and so the schools that invest. Dan Lanning had a great quote. I mean, when Oklahoma State, he said, he said, we're investing to win, and that's just players, right? And so, there's. In a world of like $30 and $40 million rosters, which isn't going away, I'd like us to do the same thing. And there's sort of like hey, that's not really the Nebraska way. And I'd like it to be. I'd like to invest. I'd like to be at the front of everything. Like weren't we one of the first teams to ever do training table? And weren't we one of the first teams to ever do like academic support? And weren't we one of the first teams to do AstroTurf, at the time Field Turf, and weren't we one of the first teams to have a jumbo board? But now, now we're talking about stadium, and everyone's like, didn't they build the Memorial Stadium faster than they built the Capitol? Like, we've invested. We have a history here of being at the forefront and investing, and I just don't want to stop that. I just want to be the absolute best at it. And so, but just for one thing, just as we move forward, like I said, I'm not going to talk about it very often. I'm certainly not going to talk about it like with anyone other than my wife. But Julie decides where we live, so this has been an unbelievable. Her business, she loves it. It's been an unbelievable time in our lives, and I just think we can be. I think we can be a perennial top of the country, one of the best teams in the country. Now, I told our team, like, this is just part of winning. Like I tell our players, like, if you're a good player, everyone should be hitting you up to go in the portal. Do you think people are calling Ja'Cory Barney right now and saying, hey, why don't you come here and play for us? Hell yeah, they are. You know what I'm saying? Because you're winning. 2 weeks ago, I walked into the team. He'll get mad at me for saying this, but I told our team, 2 weeks ago, I walked into the team meeting before the Michigan State game, and College Game Day was on. It had College Game Day had Husker fans tired of Rhule, wish they had Signetti, fire. So now all of a sudden 2 weeks later, people like me. I just, I love my players, and I love the fans, and I love all of this. Like, this is a great place, and I just want us to be positive about this place and where we're headed. Like, are we better than where we were? I haven't done it as fast as maybe some other people do, but we've done it better than some other people have in the last 2 years too. We're in a good place, and so I just want to keep rolling though, and that's why Troy's so elite.
With that distraction, with the external media, what have you, how do you talk to the team about this? Because whatever you say or don't say, your name's going to be attached to it.
I'm their coach, and I love them, and we're rolling. That's it. Like, I'm the most with them. I'm going to be as honest as possible. So, with everything, I'm their coach. Let's rock.
Is there a level of frustration that this comes up following such a big win for you guys?
No, this is good. It's way better than when I was in Carolina and I was on the hot seat. And again, but nothing has happened. Like, people are like, nothing has happened. Like, a job's open. You just in fairness, and this is about our players. Like, this is because our players are so good. But like, you guys think when we were 5-3 my first year, do you think any schools called me then? We were 5-1 last year. Do you think anyone called me then? Yeah, this is part of the deal. Like, I'm the Huskers coach. Like, this is a great job. But next, you know what I'm saying? I'm not frustrated. Now, I'm worried about Minnesota. And so, but this is a good thing. It just hasn't happened here in a while, but it's going to happen. And it's like the people are going to want to hire Dana, and people are going to want to hire, like, they wanted to hire Tony White last year. It's just, it's all good stuff, It's all good stuff.
But do you understand why maybe it's a little bit of a different discussion when we're talking about your alma mater, played there, friends with the AD, and all that?
Yeah, 100%. Like, but I'm trying to be as respectful as possible and answer it and then get it over. Like, I'm here. I'm not a cyborg. I have 2 little girls. I have a wife. I'm worried about. Have my daughters found a volleyball club to play for? Like, I'm not just like a. When I was 20 something, like I love it here. It's awesome. It's awesome.
How do you see guys respond to the Sunday practice in a short week, and how do you handle it?
Yeah, I gave them Sunday off, and I gave them the option of Monday off. And the captains asked we're going to do some work tonight. So we met on Sunday. They said it was the best lift of the year, best movement of the year. The meetings were great. The guys had a ton of juice. I think they're starting to figure out, like, A, they're a good team. B, what we do works. And C, they understand that, hey, we've got to continue to improve because there's some things we're not doing, right? The football of it is, you can't continue to have I mean, a 10-point lead and a 14-point lead, and we give them up. That doesn't make any sense. And coming out of the half and not scoring a third, that doesn't make sense. But then you get to the fourth quarter. I mean, you read me some. Allow me to read this, and I don't like to read to you guys very often because it looks like it's contrived. But he gives me stats every week, so it's like in the past 3 games after we have trailed in the second half. So once we're trailing, Dylan is 33 of 46, which is 71.7% for 357 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and we've scored on 8 of our 12 drives. So my job is how do I put it all together to get us to be able to do that all the time. But I like a lot of things that we're doing. So I thought they were really good. We'll see how they are tonight.
How did you come out of that game physically? Because on that one drive, some guys went down on defense. Elijah, I know, went out at the end.
Yeah. So Pritch. I thought Elijah Pritchett played a fantastic game. Even the one sack he gave up, like there was a miscommunication. He's supposed to have it chipped. Back went across, and so it was just like but it wasn't on Pritchett. But the play he made on Isaiah's touchdown, and he went as long as he could. He rolled his ankle and just kept playing. Like really proud of what Elijah did. But so some guys were a little beat up like that. So I think Jacory. I mean, I've never seen a guy get hit like. He gets hit on the last punt return, which was about to be should have been a touchdown probably, and comes out and he's right back in. So I think we're just probably a little bit maybe bruised, but not like a lot of like major injuries. It's a short week, hoping maybe we're going to see what Malcolm can do tonight. So maybe we'll get some guys back too.
Was the Kenneth Williams stuff already in the works, or was that a spear of the moment?
No, that was walking off the field. I literally asked him. I said, because the rules are different now. I said, Kenneth, do you have a scholarship? Because Pat handles all that. He said, no, sir. I said to Troy, he doesn't have a scholarship. And then Troy, did what he did. So, because it's just the rules it used to be like 85 scholarships. Now it's like a percentage and aid. And, it's like, now it's like baseball and it's an algorithm and smarter people like Pat are doing that. But no, that was that. That was just like, he was so close so many times. And then we put Mosey back there too. And, Quentin Ives made an unbelievable block. And, really happy for Kenneth, but not happy for him like it was like oh wow, like he's a really good player. And you think about our contribution from our backs in that game. Mosey, 2nd and 20, he runs a ball, gets like 9 yards, catches a check down, gets a first down. Emmett, I think Emmett's 2nd in the Big Ten right now in rushing. I think what did you say it was? You said it was. I can't read it anymore. 2nd in the Big Ten and 7th nationally in rushing, averaging 108-point game. We ran for 200 yards, but. 7 something carry, but then the sack and whatever got it to like 193. So and then Kenneth, makes that production. Really pleased, and Quentin great blocks. So, but that was just spur of the moment.
What's
pretty cool
about Emmett that allowed him to ascend, take that next level this year?
Well, I think I had said it maybe you guys. I can't remember what day I said, but coming out of that last game, we went back and looked at Michigan State. Went back and looked at the yards per carry, and it was like really good. We just didn't run it a ton, and then. We came out in this game and we knew how good both edge rushers were and number 10, the 3 technique was. And we were like, hey, we're going to have to try to have these really physical runs to slow down the pass rush. They're great players. And so I thought we did that. We got in rhythm and I thought Emmett got more opportunities and then he just got going. And then, the back-to-back 80-plus yard drives at the end of the game. And we hurt ourselves in the one drive with 2 2nd and longs, and we're 2nd and 14. And Emmett catches a screen and makes a bunch of guys miss. So just elite play from him. I just think the more times he got, the more locked in he'll be, and he'll be our guest game captain this week as we go back to his hometown. So excited for him.
What is the biggest challenge of doing back-to-back weeks on the road as a coach?
Yeah, and the short week too. No matter what you do, the travel takes a toll on you, right? And then I don't know how it was for you guys, but we got out of there, and even with the police escort, it took us almost an hour to get to the airport, and then we sat on the runway for 45 minutes. And you get home at 11:30, and then all of a sudden it's, if you're like me, like I don't go to bed till 2. I'm amped, so I'm watching the game on TV just to see how the flow of the game went. And then I'm watching the Minnesota game on TV, so you just get tired being on the road. We were there for 2 days, and then you come back and you got to go back on the road. So just a short week, but I think our guys travel really well. Our guys are really professional. They handle it well. We use gridiron air. We have a huge plane that we can, spread out in. So I'm excited about it.
You mentioned Friday's game being a measuring stick. A lot of it is self-explanatory, but where have you feel like you've seen the most growth from that first game?
Yeah, that first game, if you remember, I think again we turned the ball over a bunch in that game, and then we had a chance to win it at the end and put the ball away, and we fumbled the ball. They got the ball. So you just look at like, at the time the narrative was close losses, and I come in there and we look better, and all of a sudden we have a close loss. It's like, oh, here we, the kind of the narrative, like, here we go again, which was the case, right? We finished minus 17 on the year or whatever, something ridiculous. So I think we're a better talented team, we're a more physical team, we're a better team in a lot of different areas. But when you watch how Coach Fleck's team plays, like they have 3 defensive touchdowns this year. I mean, they're one of the least penalized teams in the country. Now we've become a not very penalized team, which is great. They're one of the top teams, as I said, in turnover margins. So you look at the things that they do well, like they win the turnover battle. They don't give up explosive plays. They're throwing the quarterback's an elite player. So for us, it's like, hey, if we go out there and we're minus 3, then we are who we were 2 years ago and 3 years ago, and we shouldn't be that. We're better, so we should just not give the game away and make it be a competitive game and try to win the close games.
When you think back to that, did you have a good understanding at that time, game 1, of how much of a mentality issue it was with the team and with the program to get past a lot of those things that had happened before you arrived?
That's a great question. I had a guy on my staff, Bobby Maffei, and Bobby had been here with Scott, so I had a lot of real insight into like where it was. I'll always remember my first team meeting, and then the next day at 6 a.m. I met with like the scholarship freshmen, then the non-scholarship, and I did that for I did 30 minutes with each group all the way through the seniors, so I did it for whatever that is, 4 hours, and kind of seeing all that and just where everything was just so chaotic. Kind of the portal was open, and do you guys want to be here? Do you guys not want to be here? So I kind of assume like when you're a losing team, it's really hard to become a winning team. I see coaches and we say, and they're great coaches. Don't get me wrong, but like you take over a winning program and you win. Oh wow, try doing what we do. Go somewhere and take over a program that's losing and teach it how to win. It's really, really, really hard. And so. But to your point, Mitch, I don't know that I understand, like even like the late game dynamics. Like I don't know that I was prepared for all that until I got there and saw it. And even you go to the next week, we went to Colorado, and it's like a 7-0 game in the second quarter, and all of a sudden just falls apart on us. I'm just like, man, we're gonna have to do brain surgery. And so, I mean, I'll be honest with you, like last week's game was one of the most fun games I've ever been a part of. Because not when we were losing. I'm saying like we couldn't get things going, but because of the way the team just kept coming together and kept attacking it, and we were nowhere near that 2 years ago. So, but I don't know that I appreciated kind of how much would have to happen until I got here, and I certainly didn't appreciate the how covered we are. Right? Like I look at other teams. I watch press conferences all day Monday. I watch other teams' press conferences. I said this to some of you guys yesterday. A, I think I'm way more respectful to you guys than some of the head coaches out there. I can't believe some of the things that are said. But B, they don't get asked hard questions and we get covered a lot. Like it's on the radio or this, and so like just the magnitude of what this is for our guys. And so it's been me adjusting to it, and I've adjusted this year a little bit more, like to embrace it, not try to protect them as much. Be like, hey, this is what it is. Got to go play harder, play better. So I've come a long way in 3 years.
Noticed that Willis McGahee wasn't part of the travel party on Saturday. Where do you feel like he just is in his development?
Yeah, I think we're going to try to redshirt Willis. He's a fantastic, fantastic young player. He's just, Desan's playing a ton, and we're just not getting him on the field enough. And I was hoping for clarity on the 4-for-4, 5-for-5, but my philosophy has always been to do what's right by the player first. I met with him. He would like to try to redshirt. And, I think what we'll do is, that'll give him a year of just development versus our, he gave a great look last week. He was being 29 and 9 and get, great work. And then I think we just have a great young pass rusher in the pipeline for down the future. So, and, Dylan Rogers is coming on for us and some other guys are coming on. So we feel like we can do it. Willis wasn't really playing on special teams, so we'll just continue to develop him.
What have you heard recently on the redshirt stuff?
It doesn't look like it's going to happen this year. I think it'll eventually happen, probably, but it just sounds like it's just not in the pipeline for right now. So, like it puts it like you look at like some of the situations we have. We got guys should I redshirt, should I not redshirt? Because they'd hate for them to also to pass 5-for-5 next year, and all of a sudden they could have played this year. So I just have to kind of leave it up to the guys and tell them the most that I know. Even in Malcolm's situation, he has a redshirt year. Is it a 5-for-5? Is he going to go to the NFL this year? What's he going to do? And so just trying to work with him in terms of what he wants to do once he's healthy. So I do think that's why our players have seen a lot of guys coming into the program. They're coming from other places. We've had players leave, and you see how they're doing, and it's like, you know what? I just want to do what's right for each kid, and so I think it's the best way to handle it.
And what are your thoughts on the Big Ten, just how unpredictable it's been? I mean, last week again, we saw a lot of games all over the map as far as what people thought and what actually happened.
Yeah, I just think it's, I mean, it's like even the top when we do the top 25 voting at the beginning of the year and all that, right? It's like I just think we look a lot like we're thinking still how it was 7 years ago, 5 years ago. Like, well, this brand should be better than this brand, and the ability for players to change rosters and move, for coaches to be able to take teams with them when they leave and take another job, and just everything's in flux. And then, what type of football character do you have when you're kind of out of the CFP race? Does your team continue to play or not? Like, to me, so Dylan sits next to me on the bus. So him and I were riding back to the airport. So we sat together for like 45 minutes talking, And I just said to him, I said, Dylan, here's how I look at it, bro. Either you like playing football or you don't. Like, if your team loses 3 games and all of a sudden you want to quit playing that season, like, do you really like playing football? Like, this is the best time of our lives. And so, so I just think it's just up and down, unpredictable. But I think teams are better than people realize. Like, that was such a talented team. Loxley's done a great job there, and I knew it going in. Like, that was going to be an absolute battle. He's done a great job, and so I just think we beat Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's like 24th in the country now, right? Like. It's just not what people did last year. People can change their roster so much now and grow that. And then, like, to your point, though, Sean, it's also week to week, right? I mean, like, whose team's focused. And in our conference, you're never going to hear me complain about it, but the travel is a factor, right? I mean, like, flying across the country with a bunch of 18 to 22-year-old guys and trying to get them ready to play is a factor. It takes a toll on your body. And so, like, Washington had to go to Maryland and then come back and play on Friday night, like 6-hour trips each way, and they found a way to win. But they weren't great early against Rutgers, and then they eventually won. So it's just all a challenge.
You spoke in the offseason about how Dankey's a pro in his mindset. Did that kind of come to play in the last couple of weeks? He didn't have a catch that one game, and then what he did again.
Yeah, what I've loved about Dane is he like, our wideouts blocked like crazy this last game. And Dane's been, like, I think I talked about last week, Isaiah's touchdown on the screen pass. Dane blocked for like 6 seconds on the right side. The thing about Dana's offense is he doesn't come out and say, hey, I need to get the ball to this guy. Then he's not calling plays like that. He's attacking coverages and, calling plays that should work. And then when it's your turn to make a play, you got to make a play, right? And so it can rotate through who gets to make plays. But Dane's been practicing really hard. And he deserved that moment. The one touchdown gets taken away on probably a missed call, for being honest. Like, no disrespect to the officials, but that's not an OPI. That was incidental. But maybe it's OPI. Whatever. It's a touchdown taken away. What I loved is if you want to know why I love that kid, why I say he's a professional, if you go back and watch the TV copy or you watch on Instagram, whatever, the clip, he catches one-handed catch for that touchdown, and then he gets up and he sprints to the sideline to be with his teammates and to like not to celebrate, but to say, like, hey, we got to stop him and win the game. Like when you have guys doing that, I got Sierra talk to the team in the locker room after the game again. Like, Jacory gave the best halftime speech. I'm sitting there like, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't plan those things. I'm at halftime. I'm like, what should I say? What should I say? And Jacory gets up before I can start talking. He gives the greatest halftime speech probably I've ever seen. And the guys are losing their mind. Then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, guys. And they're like, oh, here we go. Like, what, coach? Like, so we came out in the third quarter. I probably ruined it. But so, I mean, we got such amazing leadership from our best players. Like, in the last huddle on the 4th and 6, I think it was a 4th and 6, Butler was doing a great job. He invented a defense right there because of what they were doing, right? And all the guys were in the huddle, and I had to make Dylan all leave the huddle because he couldn't talk. It was so loud. So we just have good brotherhood. And but Dane's, he likes to play football. So when the ball wasn't coming his way, he kept playing hard. I'm sure he wanted more touches, but then he got going this game. So
The best game your offensive line played this year.
say it one more time.
The best game your offensive line played.
Yeah, especially considering how good those guys were, And you go back to the last game, it looked, but they averaged like 6 yards of carry in that game too. I think Dana's figuring out and Donnie's figuring out what they do the best, like what they're really good at. Like I said, Gunner. I wasn't sure if Gunner was going to be able to play on Sunday, and he plays the whole game. So Turner Corcoran, so proud of him. He's just basically been like the jumbo tight end. Getting some reps here and there, and all of a sudden the game comes out, and he goes out there and closes out the game for us, and plays really well too. So I think that offensive line, I think they've done a good job. Like, just shut out the noise and watch the tape. You know what I mean? Do what I do. Turn off your mute people you don't want to hear from. Turn off your DMs and just play football. And I think they've done a good job of that. And when you're an offensive lineman, people don't really say, hey, you played great. They only talk about when you don't play great, and so that's kind of the nature of the position. It's like corner. Unless you get a pick, they only talk about when you get beat. And so I thought, Sam, I thought they did a good job. Again, I thought they did a good job of moving the line of scrimmage and slowing down the rush with the run game. And I thought our tight ends played the best game. We used Caden Ectornock some in the run game. We used Lindenmeyer in the run game. And then not many people have talked about the play. Well, I say not many people. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm saying, but I don't think I've talked enough about the catch Heinrich made at the 3-yard line. The one-handed catch and then the catch Luke made in the back of the end zone. As Sat said, he's like, our tight ends, they're like the watchmen. They're just here. We're here when you need us. If you guys need us to bail you out of a play, let us know. But those are huge scramble effort plays. But yeah, I thought the offensive line played a really, really great game.
When did Dana and Donnie and maybe even Sat start to dial that in and figure out, okay, this is what we're going to do, and it started to look a little bit different?
In terms of
was it after the Michigan game? Was it during the Michigan State game? Because it looked good on America, I guess.
Yeah, the interesting thing, if you go back to the Michigan game, right? It got ugly early, first third down, it's a sack, boom, right? But then, you watched, we're in 2 minutes before the half, we went through the Hail Mary, we're blocking everybody, the drive before that, and then the end of the game. So my point, I showed them you could you did block them. So if you did block them, you have to be more consistent with blocking them. We stood up in one-on-one situations and blocked them in pass pro. So we're capable of it. So I think even through the midst of that, and then get out of the Michigan State game, but I do think, to your point, I'm trying to answer your question here. I think that they're realizing hey, we can do these are the runs we're better at. You know what I mean? We're really good at this. We're really good at that. Hey, maybe we're not as good as this. And so just kind of morphing into who you are in the middle part of the season. I mean, we're 5-1, so I can say it, right? But I do have 3 new coordinators. They have to learn how to adjust to me. I have to learn how to adjust to them. They have to learn how to work together. And so there's a lot to that. That's why you don't want a lot of turnover every single year. But we had what we had, and so I think we're kind of settling in probably at all positions.
What can you take from the stretch of play after your 5-1 start last year, when you then lost 4 in a row? What can you take from that that's applicable to these 3 or 4 weeks ahead? Yeah,
well, we were just such a different team last year, so I think we're in a way different place. And I think we went through what we went through last year, so we don't go through it again this year. Last year, we played the brand every week, so we're it's Indiana. Are they good? And then we went there and we got our tails kicked, right? And then Signetti told us about it after, so you had to eat that one, right? And then the guys all regrouped and we handled it, and we went to Ohio State. We played a game that we came within a play of beating the number 1 team in the country. You go back and look at their stretch down the road, we're the only team that played them close. And our kids knew they were playing Ohio State, and they knew they had to lock in, and they locked in. But then we come back home and play UCLA, and UCLA was a talented team. But if you guys remember, I kept saying, hey, guys, this is a good team. And we didn't play great against them, and then we thought we settled down at the end. Brought Dana in, we went to USC. So with all that being said, our focus this year has been just worry about us. Stop worrying about who we're playing. Stop worrying about the other team. And if you do worry about their team, watch the film. Don't listen to this was their record last year. They only beat this. Stop with all that stuff and just look at the film. Well, what does this guy do? And so, but yeah, we were 5-1 last year. We went on the road. We were the number 25 team in the country. We went on the road. We wore all white uniforms on the road, and we played a game. We're 5-1 this year. We're the number 25 team in the country. We're going to wear all white uniforms Friday night. We're going to go play Minnesota.
Coach,
play better.
You talk about the Husker faithful. You touched a little bit on it after the game. For you, you've coached at a lot of places. You can hear the Go Big Red chants on the TV broadcast. Where does this rank for you as far as just passionate fan base and what they help you guys do on the field?
There's no place like Nebraska. The locker room at Maryland is so small. There's not even a training room in the visiting locker room. So all of our coaches, we all sat outside. We actually did our halftime meetings outside. You couldn't meet inside. So I sat out in the grass and talked to Dana for an hour. And before they would let the people in the stadium, you could hear them chanting "Go Big Red" outside before they came in. So it's unlike any other. It's unlike any other, and that's why for me to tell the players, "Hey, go back out and thank the fans." I mean, people pay their hard-earned money for that. And so if you listen to me, sometimes well, Coach, you always say about just block. My thing is the fans, not the Twitter accounts, right? Not what people are saying to you on social media. I tell our guys, don't listen to social media, but the people. I've never had anyone say anything rude to me since I've been here. I've never had someone say that. Well, I actually have watched Michigan. I went to watch my daughter swim at Devaney, and this little kid, 15-year-old kid, said to me, "Hey, what happened against Michigan?" I said to him, "You're lucky you're not my son, buddy." But like no one says, like even some things, some of the tweets you guys say in game, sometimes they show them to me. They're a little bit mocking, a little bit but no one says that to you in your face. So my thing is like, hey guys, like I'm going to be respectful to everyone. You're going to be respectful to everyone. Who's respectful to us? And the fans showed us unbelievable respect, passion by coming out there and being there. Like my family sits in the stands my two daughters sit in the stands, and like you can't do that everywhere. But we can do that in Nebraska because the people here are the best people in the world. Right? So, but our fans are elite, and so we go to Minnesota. I just want to go back to one thing, Mitch, you had asked me about earlier, about 2 years ago. If you remember after the game, I said I messed up because I wasn't prepared. It was a gold out. If you remember that first game of the year, and it was so loud and the way the stadium was built, because I look at the stadium capacities and all that, and I didn't do a good job of helping us with the cadence in that game. We weren't prepared, so like we were way more prepared. Like we had to go silent cadence at the end of the Maryland game, and we hadn't done it all game. We had to do it at the end of the game, so way more prepared. But I always assume like, hey, we're going to have a bunch of Nebraska fans there too, and it's going to help us in terms of keeping it quieter. And so, yeah, we have the best fans in the world.
Friday is going to be a breast cancer game. Both you and Minnesota are partnering with that. Just how did that kind of come to be in your conversations with us?
Yeah, well, I shared it the other day. Obviously, my wife lost her mother, and my mother had breast cancer. I think it affects 1 in 8 women. It's the second leading cause of cancer. For women, aside from skin cancer in the United States. And if you have early detection, like it's 95% survival rate for the next 5 years, you can live a good life. And so, I always, when I was, what's the point of wearing? It's just, hey, raise awareness, support for those people who have it, raise money. My wife has the dry bar, and it's like this isn't just like a publicity. She gives like $10 off every blowout for to breast cancer awareness, because we know what it feels like. And I had the guys yesterday. I said, who here has a woman in your life who's been affected by breast cancer or any kind of cancer? And I think almost the entire team raised their hands. And so I think it's a great thing for football teams to do. The hashtag we have this week is, who taught you how to fight, which I gave that speech the first year kind of off the cuff. And I was like, who taught you how to, watching my mom and watching Donna, my mother-in-law, deal with that every single day, no matter how they felt, they still were our moms and grandmoms. And so that's why it's passionate for us. We like doing it. It didn't work out where we could do it a home game this year because of all the other causes. So we just decided, hey, we're going to do it at Minnesota. Dylan really wanted to wear, he asked me because he was still mad about the Indiana game, can we wear all white on a game this year? And I said, if you win all white, you're going to have to win, because every time we wear all white, people say, oh. So I said, you have to win the game. You have to play great. The uniform doesn't affect how you play. I know. So we'll do some pink accessories this week. We'll wear all white. But really, to me, it's about, who in your life taught you how to fight. And I respect PJ Fleck so much, and I respect Heather Fleck so much that I texted him and said, hey, this is what we're doing. And he said, you want to partner with us? And he wanted to partner with us because it's bigger than the outcome of the game. And so both teams are doing it. It's two classy college football programs coming together for a cause bigger than just football. And then once the game kicks off, we'll go play football. Right? The team that plays the best will win. But I appreciate you asking me about that. That's why it is. And I think it's a worthwhile cause. Anything else? All right. Thanks, guys.